Babble with Ben.
Hey, James Hood. Welcome to the podcast. How you
Ben
going,
Charlie
man?
Brown. What's going on, man?
Oh, I thought I'd get you on the podcast, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
How you been? What's been going on?
Just chillaxing. Got myself a part-time job while
Yep.
doing the music thing at the moment, Just keeping myself occupied, really.
How's the guitar count at the moment?
What is the guitar count? So I got a couple of guitars that are kind of out of action at the moment because they do need a little bit of work on.
No. Yeah.
So that's my Epiphone Les Paul.
Yep.
That's my Black Strat.
Yep.
Then I have the main guitars that I'm using right now, my Telly, my Sunburst Strat, my Les Paul, the 335, the custom-made Thunderbird.
What's a Thunderbird? Is that like a...
It's a guitar that I
Gibson,
made when
yeah?
I was like 15. It's a Guild Thunderbird. It's like one of the really old retro like 60s looking spaceship guitars. Dan, I don't know how to say his last name, Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. He uses one of those. And so I saw that and I went, oh, that looks so cool. I've got to make myself one. Except I made it way too big. So it's like the size of a 335 guitar.
Oh, they're big, yeah.
And it's not hollow either. And it's made out of Queensland maple. So that thing weighs a ton. It's probably the heaviest instrument I've ever held. And so after like a good hour and a half set, my shoulders are killing me after that. Then I got the acoustics, so 1 12-string, 1 6-string, the resonator, and my banjo. I think that's about it.
So we're up to 10? Is not counting the ones that are out of action, yeah?
Yeah.
I love going to your house and looking at the wall and just going, wow, am I in Manny's or what? Like,
I think I am probably going to have to get like a couple of more guitar racks, especially like if I'm going to be moving out and I'm renting, they're not really going to be appreciative of me drilling holes into the wall.
yeah.
But anyway.
Do you have a favorite?
It's like having a favorite child.
There's always one.
I do go through phases at times. Like at the moment, I'm really in my Strat phase.
Yeah.
I'm back to my Strat phase actually, because like I'm really starting to get back into Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm really starting to get into a guy called Philip Sace. He's like basically reincarnated Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix.
Tell me more.
Oh, he's the fucking man. He's amazing. And he has like a 63 Strat and he's got like the really old super reverbs and he's got like the original fuzz faces and tube screamers. Like just crazy blues, man. But like very Hendrixy, like very over the top, basically. Very power trio. Yeah, it's heavy, really, really fucking heavy blues, basically. And I love that guy. He's everything that I originally wanted to do with music. Like, especially when I was around like 15, 16, I was like, yeah, I want to remake this music that I've been listening to for years and grew up with. So he's the guy that's doing it. So unfortunately, I'd probably be ripping him off.
How is your music going at the moment? Are you playing any bands at the moment? So you're teaching, you were saying?
I've actually stopped teaching.
You've stopped teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you weren't saying you were teaching. Got it.
So yeah, I stopped teaching mainly because of COVID. Like, because I was teaching a lot of kids and kids didn't want the Zoom experience because they didn't really feel like they were getting their money's worth, like, which is totally like fine and acceptable. Like I probably wouldn't be doing the same thing. And like the building that I was working out of had to be shut down because my boss couldn't like pay the rent on it because he had lost so much business. But like, I'm happy to go there like anytime if I want to start working there again. But now I'm a supermarket boy. I work at Aldi. So now I'm, pushing trolleys and, actually I'm not really pushing trolleys. I'm more just working at the till and just, counting people's change and, have a nice day. Here's your receipt. Would you like a catalogue? That gets old pretty quickly. But no, it's actually decent work. It's good pay. I like my managers there. I don't have a shit boss or anything like that. So it's
heaven.
great.
Yeah. And you get a seat too, don't you, at Aldi, if you're at the checkout?
I get a seat. I don't have to stand up.
What's with Coles and Woolies not getting seats at the checkout?
Because they have self-serve.
Oh,
so,
but even
that's the lazy part. They don't have to like really scan stuff. Unless it's ridiculously busy at like 3 o'clock or something. But
And so apart from being a checkout chick, what else is on the hustle list?
just doing a bunch of gigs. If you haven't heard, I'm Alicia's new guitar player.
Are you now?
Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks. And playing guitar for Gemma, Sarah Catania, and then I've just finished all of my demos on my solo album. So they're getting sent off to Jamin and the mixers and the band. It's going to be like an all-star lineup, really. It's basically better musicians supporting James Hood.
Fantastic.
But calling it James Hood.
Oh, you always want to be the least talented person in the room because then you learn something. Absolutely. So tell us about this debut album.
It's got a bunch of shit in it. It completely like different styles, like from one song to the other. So like one's a Philip Sacey kind of like blues rock heavy thing, and then one's like a very Tom-ish pop guitar. Then like one's kind of like a 80s kind of thing. And then I have one solo instrumental acoustic tune on there, Olivia. And then the rest is just like ballads, like power rock, very Pink Floyd-ish, because like there aren't a whole lot of like new guitar players who both sing and play lead guitar now. So yeah, that's basically going to be the highlight of the album is here's a guy that can sing and here's a guy that can play all the solos on it. So yeah, I'm keen as a bean to fucking record it. The demos, like, not trying to be like up my own ass or anything, but the demos sound good. I'm like pretty happy with it. And the whole point of the demos is that I kind of want it to sound as close to that, but even better. So.
Of course. That's a great thing to be. You weren't tempted just to put the demos out there, or?
Very tempted with one of them. I think I still kind of am tempted to like release it as the first single and then just put it on the album. I just like need tips with mastering because I can't master it all. And, I still need to work out like who I'm going to go through, whether it's like DistroKid or CD Baby or whoever. I've already got the album art for it.
Oh, yeah. Great. In fact, I'm sure I saw that at a presentation a while ago.
You did. Absolutely, you did. Because like lucky in year 12, I was doing VisCom. So I'm all around the Photoshop, the Adobe Illustrator kind of thing. So like I have experience. So I don't even have to like pay more money for someone to design my own album.
Singing, playing guitar.
Oh, yeah. I'm saving a lot of money on this EP.
It sounds like you're pouring your soul into this, hey?
Oh, for sure. Like some songs on there, like I wrote when I was like, one of the songs I wrote the lyrics when I was like 14.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's pretty fucking old stuff, pretty like personal shit as well. And one of the other tunes I wrote like start to finish in like 10 minutes when I was like 16. So very much so like this is me growing up writing these songs and here it is. This is what I've done so far. And I think I'm probably going to like build the track list in that way as well. Start from the early songs and then finish off with, the end of uni songs as well. So.
Because you graduated last year, didn't you?
Yep. It was so hard, that last part, man. It was like, because lockdown happened, only third years were allowed to be back for like improv and stuff like that. So that was fine. That was the easy part. But because everyone was allowed back in October, we had like a month and a half to rehearse all of our recital stuff, all of our Perf Plat stuff. And it was just a mess. Like getting a room was impossible. I had to book probably like exactly a month in advance. Like I would wait until midnight to book the room 28 days later. Like,
wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And anyone who was at uni at that time knew that I basically hogged all the rooms and that I was the most prepared because, like, you know, it's my last recital. Like, I want to finish it off with a bang. So,
how did you go for your last recital? I don't think I saw it.
I went well. Like, I was very surprised that, like, because I started getting into my own head, and I have a habit of doing that when watching everyone else's recitals because they're fucking amazing. And so it was like the day before, and like I'm watching other people's recitals, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm scared. And then everyone in my band was saying, you have nothing to worry about. You are the most prepared person we've played for so far. You're fine. And so, like, I was like, okay, I can get out of my own head. And like, it also meant a lot as well because like it was the first and only time that my parents saw me play in a recital. Like they've been to all my gigs where I'm playing like cover gigs and rock shit, but like they never saw me play Alan Holdsworth. So, and you know, and my girlfriend was there as well. So like it did mean a lot. It wasn't just the fact that, oh, it's my last recital. It's like, I want to show everyone what I'm capable of and like what I really want to do later on. So,
absolutely. What songs did you do for your last recital?
Metal Fatigue by Alan Holdsworth. Anyone who's heard that song knows that that song is just fucking notes. Like, it's just so all over the place. And there's like a time signature change with like a metric modulation in the middle of that time signature change. Like, and it was kind of tricky to get that song like really tight, but eventually we got it together and like everyone loved it because we ended up just taking the piss out of it. You know, Matt had a bass solo and you know, there was like two sections of it. One section he was just playing random notes because it's Alan Holdsworth, and then the second section he just played one note for a solo. And,
oh really? Yeah.
then I did Electric Gypsy by Andy Timmons. So that's like, I wanted to do that as like an homage to Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan because that's his homage to Hendrix. And so like, obviously I did the main Andy Timmons parts that were like necessary. And then in the improv solos, like I'm giving like a nod to Stevie Ray and Hendrix. I did Kiss from a Rose. I did a fingerstyle interpretation of it because when Rick Beato did a video on it, I was like, oh yeah, fuck, this song's actually really good. It's just unfortunate that it came from a movie that fucking sucked. So,
wait a sec, wasn't that Batman versus Robin or something?
Batman Forever.
It was 20 years ago I saw that movie.
Yeah, it had Nicole Kidman in it. And so, yeah.
I remember the song more than the movie, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, like, then I just became obsessed with the song. I did, like, what if Kiss from a Rose had, like, a guitar solo? And so I just did this, like, crazy metal, like, hard rock solo with a bunch of tapping and a bunch of fuzz shit in it and, like, ultra guitar harmonies with, like, 6 fucking harmony parts. And like just really over the top stuff. And then I was like, I reckon I could probably do like a fingerstyle arrangement of this. Because originally I wanted to do, have you heard the Micah Dawes version of, what's the name of the song? Somebody I Used to Know.
Oh.
Yeah, he does a fingerstyle arrangement of that and he released it with Tommy Emmanuel. And so like I remember trying to learn that and I was like, I can't fucking do that. I was like, let me do a song that I already know back to front, like the back of my hand, and just try to make a fingerstyle arrangement of that. And so I did that and fucking killed that. I really, really enjoyed playing that because like I kind of like made my own flow to it. I didn't make it strictly like 6/8 or 3/4 or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I didn't want to make it super strict because then it kind of eliminates like the personality behind like the player. And also like it gives it this depth behind the song. So like the bridge had like a really, really strong rhythm part and so did the chorus, but like the verse was very like rubato and nice and flowing. And like Mario obviously was like, that was great. That was fucking awesome. I liked how he did that. I did a Guthrie Govan tune, Ner. It's off the Erotic Cakes album, and that's just shred, just over the top, go as fast as you can, but make it melodic and musical. And so that was my last tune of the entire set. And like, I had already like mapped out a solo from like a couple of nights before because like I was so nervous of like just fucking it up because it was my last tune.
Of course, yeah.
And so for the final solo section, there's like a break where like Nick's doing like the rhythm part and the drum's doing a drum solo. And so I was getting ready to set up this solo and I was like, fuck it. I just let go and I just like did whatever I wanted and I just let me be me. And so, and then everyone complimented, that was like the main compliment of the entire set was that last solo was awesome. Like it just screamed you. And so that's what I was happy with. Like I left my mark on a tune that I considered almost fucking impossible to play. So yeah, I was so happy with that, man. I loved it.
That's great. And that was the last song for the set?
Yeah.
Oh, good way to finish, hey?
Oh yeah. I also did an acoustic duo with Jamin because like I had to play with Jamin because like he's a beautiful guitar player. His sense of like melodicism is just incredible. Shout out to Jamin Forrest. And then I did like a Steve Vai tune because he's like one of my heroes and you know I had the fucking Ibanez gem. I had to, like it just screamed for it. I did the Ballerina 1224 with the like harmonizer on it. That was a pain in the ass trying to set that up with the HX Stomp. So I had to get like a delay that was pitched, but like put the mix on 0. So like there were no extra repeats. So it was like it was a delayed harmonizer. So I had to get 2 of those, pan one left and pan one right, and then pan the dry in the middle. And it was a mess, but it was so worth it in the end. And then I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I put like a vocoder on this?
Oh my goodness.
Because I found out that Liv had like a vocoder that Nick bought him. Nick bought her for her birthday. And so I was like, oh, what would it sound like if it went through that? And so she's just doing like no musical note or anything like that, but this harmony from the guitar was going through the vocal mic and it was just like super, super fucking wide. And yeah, I love that set, man. I still think about that set to this day. Like, I don't think I could have done it any better. I fucking loved it.
Maybe you could do that in one of Alicia's gigs.
I don't think she would really appreciate that.
She can give you 8 bars, surely. So you were saying you're playing in Alicia's band. Who else were you playing with?
Playing with Gemma Curtis.
Oh, cool.
And playing with Sarah Catania.
Oh, great. So that would be keeping you pretty busy, yeah? They're 3 fairly busy people.
Yeah. Gemma's got a gig coming up. I think it's the 1st of May. Sarah's had a couple of gigs. One I couldn't go to because I was at Meadow, unfortunately. Not unfortunate that I was at Meadow and seeing Charlie McCosh and Forrest, but so I had one gig with her, had a couple of rehearsals, and then like she's planning to record as well. So like be recording the lead guitar and stuff for that. Maybe some acoustic parts as well. I'm also just keen to like write with people as well. Like I want to write with Sarah, Gemma, Priscilla, Charlie, Jamin, Nick, Brad, fucking everyone.
Yeah.
Like, because our year, I still consider you being in my year because you were with me in first year.
Who knows what year I'm in at this point?
Like,
5th year.
Like, I consider like our year like an extremely super tight cohort of people who like, obviously we all have different influences, but we all got on the same page as to like what we like. And that was really shaped from our perf part classes, from our improv classes, and like every other class, even like theory classes as well. So we're all like on the same page on like what everyone is capable of. Like obviously like no one's going to ask me to play a fucking jazz gig, but like they're going to ask me to do like, hey, could you do like a rock gig or like a country gig or something like that? And like, you know, I wouldn't ask, I wouldn't ask Sarah Catania, hey, can you do some like scream vocals for me like in this metal gig?
Yeah, we want some North Lane covers. You know what I mean?
But I know that she's like one of the best like country singers that I know. So.
Absolutely. I think that 2019 was it was strange because that was when we all started, but that was also the last normal year for music performance students, because after that, I mean, we were lucky if we were at class, in person for class for half the year of the last 2 years.
It was crazy. I was so thankful that like third years were allowed back at uni, because like it did give us a sense of like being back to normal, because like assessments sucked online. Like, I love you, Box Hill, like, but I'm here for your amazing facilities. Like, I'm not here to do stuff at home, you know. But like when we came back, it was just a massive like weight off our shoulders, because like especially doing improv with Craig, because it was jazz improv, so like we had to be there in order to like feel, you know, what everyone's doing, because like especially with jazz drums, like you can't tell what Ollie Bug's doing on the kit like over Zoom. So I was so glad for that, man.
I had a similar experience. I mean, I know that there was no other way of doing it, but when we had choir as a vocalist, right, we basically had to all sit in front of our computers with the mute button on and sing our parts. And I personally find that part of choir's charm is that you get to hear the people next to you, and it sort of blends into this amazing thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, maybe it's narcissistic, but I like to be heard by the people I'm in the room with, you know what I mean? Like, I like to vibe off them. And so I definitely feel you in the value of having these collaborative music classes in person, right? Because I think, I mean, maybe if they can come up with a zero latency internet, then it would be different. But I think until that day, in person, I mean, maybe, look, if there was like a zero latency metaverse where you could look over at Bug or look over at Bug and like zero latency drummer, you know, next to you, you know, and then you've got your bassist with an emoji and there's no latency. Maybe that would work, right? But now when, you know, now like you've got your screen and here's this person, one of the things I found, and even Mario was saying this too, is it drives you crazy not knowing who's looking at you. Because if someone's looking at their camera, who knows what they're looking at?
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
I mean, like Mario did try that a couple of times in rhythm section over Zoom. Like, let's just try it with all of our mics turned on. And it was an absolute mess, but you know, it's Mario, so we love him. So we just let him do it.
The goals were very admirable, but unfortunately, yeah.
I just remember like how quickly COVID came to us in Melbourne, because like we all took the piss out of it originally. Like we're like, you know, if you got a little cold, you're like, maybe I got COVID, because I know I did the same thing. And so we had the week of coronaviruses in Australia, and then everyone starts stocking up on fucking toilet paper, and then next week, we're not going to school. Oh, like how long is this going to last? Oh, probably like 2 weeks. And that lasted how many fucking months?
I think where it really came home to me was when they cancelled the Formula One, because that's a big budget event.
Yeah.
And people were being turned away at the gate, and it's kind of like, holy shit. I mean, like this is real.
Because, you know, Formula One, because I'm a massive F1 fan, like Formula One will try as hard as they can to get an event to go on. Like the other day in Saudi Arabia, there was a fucking missile that went off like right next to the track. Oh yeah. And it's even on footage, like there's onboards of Max Verstappen and there's a fucking missile like in the distance. And that race still went on.
Why do
Can
they
you believe that
missiles
shit?
near the racetrack? Like,
so for Australia and the Victorian government to cancel that was massive. That was when we all really woke up and went, okay, this is actually serious. Because I remember I was at Maddie's place, because she originally had like a shindig and no one really wanted to go to it because everyone was like, I don't know about this. And so I went because it was like, I don't know, this might be the last time I see all you guys. And like, I don't know how the fuck long this is going to last. And so that was, I think on the 20th or the 19th. I think it might have been the 20th. And then a couple of days later, that's when ScoMo went, yeah, nah, lockdown, that's it. You know, everything's over. Stay at fucking home, wash your fucking hands, and just like do the right thing. And like, because it was crazy because we didn't have a vaccine. And we were like, how long is this actually going to last? And, you know, that's what I was shitting myself over. And I was like, well, at least I learned how to use Logic so I can play with the backing tracks.
Well, I like to think that this podcast was kind of born out of the lockdown as well because, you know, I bought a microphone.
Yeah.
I started learning how to use Premiere. And I think even things like buying some lights to sort of improve the appearance of the video.
I was the exact same. Like, you know, I finally got myself a pair of monitors, like instead of just listening through fucking headphones and trying to do mixes on it. Because like, yeah, you can do mixes on headphones, but you got to listen to something else. And it also kind of helped because like I didn't have my license at the time. So like I didn't have an excuse of like, well, hey, can you like pick me up or like, can you drive me to somewhere? Because like I was like, great, I don't have to fucking go anywhere. I don't have to be a burden on anyone. And like even buying like new microphones, you know, experimenting with new string gauges. Like I could really do that for the first time because like I wasn't having gigs 24/7. You know, learning how to set up my own guitars, that was massive for me because like one of my good mates, Mitch, he's a really good tech, but like if you're really good, it's going to cost you a penny, especially if you've got like fucking 10 guitars, you know, it's going to set you back a bit. Yeah. So like just learning how to set up was a massive thing. And I think for everyone, it was just a really good time to learn what you're passionate about, you know, because you had time for it. Like, because you couldn't go to work unless you were an essential worker. But like you had time to say, okay, well, what can I get out of this time while being at home, you know? And like, especially for the first semester of that lockdown, you know, I fucking never went to class. I didn't go to a single class except for that last songwriting class. And then I had a couple of messages from people, including you. You're like, fucking welcome back, James. I thought you disappeared. You know, oh my God, you got a beard now. Like,
the lockdown beard was real, hey? I think it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? But a lot of people, a lot of people did disappear in that first half of 2020.
It was crazy.
And you wouldn't, everyone was sort of, you know, trying to find their own way through the pandemic. But then all of a sudden when things settled down a little bit, we're like, well, wait a second, who's left? You know, like,
like that. It was just a massive cull, like not even just for Box Hill, but for every university, you know, and for jobs as well, which is fucking unfortunate. But like, it was just like, wait a minute. So who's here? Like, who's like staying here? Who's leaving? Like, are they going to come back? A lot of people didn't come back. A lot of people just, it's not for me. Because like they just didn't want to do it in lockdown. Like lockdown just completely changed like what their horizons are for the future and like what they're going to be able to do. Because I know like I was shitting myself. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. A lot of people in my year had a discussion over Zoom like, okay, we need to have this conversation of, you know, what can we actually get out of university if it's just going to be in lockdown? Like, are we all going to defer? Because we had this discussion, like, I want to play with all you people because all you people are amazing, but like, if there's only going to be like 10 of us left, what's the point? And so we all had this group vote and group discussion on whether we were going to defer or not. And as we were having that discussion, the next day, lockdown was lifted. So if lockdown wasn't lifted, that could have been a completely different landscape for all of us. And even for Box Hill, like, you know, imagine being a teacher and there was 6 people in a fucking year level.
That was that threat was very, very real.
Yeah.
The music industry was in hibernation for 2 years. Imagine if it had
crazy.
been 5.
No, it was...
You know, imagine if you couldn't go to the tote for 5 years.
Fuck.
I live on Victoria Street in Richmond, right? There are lots of restaurants and cafes that have got for lease signs up on them, right? They just didn't survive. And so you want, it was very good that there were subsidies for venues and for cafes and stuff like that. But gosh, it was that first half of 2020.
It scared the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
It really did. I don't know how, it's kind of a bad way of saying it. I don't know how because at the start of it, we were all very like in together, like let's stay together. Let's like, this is involving everyone. And then that lasted for about 3 weeks and then everything got politicized again. So that that was the hopeful moment for me. It was like, oh, wow, not everyone is going to be a massive cunt to each other. So I hope that's allowed on air.
Oh, it sure is.
Okay, cool. Cunt,
we had this
fuck,
discussion
shit.
with Maddie. It's like, you're allowed to fucking swear on this podcast. There was a funny story from Maddie, just to end the conversation with. She was saying, she was talking about rough trips home from parties, and she was talking about a time where I think you were driving her home in her car or someone's car, and she was having to lean out the side of the car and vomit on the way
So
home.
I was in the back seat with her. And so,
oh really?
Yeah. So
my
Alex,
goodness.
Alex was driving, and no one even noticed it except for me in the car. And so I just noticed her like wind down the window, and she's just out of the side of the window going, bleh, 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 just little ones. And then I start laughing, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "Look at the side of the window." And there's just Maddie, like just in the middle of Baldwin on tram tracks, just throwing up.
Oh, at least it was before the roundabout. Hey? Well, James Hood, it's been really, really good to have you on, man. It's
Cheers,
been
man.
an absolute pleasure. Hey, let us know when that album's out.
Will do.
I will promote it
Oh yeah,
heavily.
there's going to be a lot of announcements for that.
Sweet.
I'm fucking keen as a bean for it.
How can people find you on social media?
People can find me on _James Hood on Instagram, James Hood Music on, I think it's just James Hood on Facebook, James Hood Music on TikTok. I'm a TikToker now.
TikToker now. Yeah.
And James Hood Music on YouTube as well.
Wicked. All right. Well, we'll get people to check you out.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Ben.
Have a good one.
Cheers.